You don't really wanna fuck with me. Get in the way.
Yo, this is Ryan Clinton, the Hip Hop Hercules, the Hip Hop Historian, and I'm here to review the monster New York producer and DJ Statik Selektah's sixth studio album entitled What Goes Around. Let's get it reviewed. What's up?
I want you to tell them Statik Selektah.
Naturally, of course, we expect a ton when it comes to an album fully produced by Mr. Selektah, and on this tape he brings to the album heavy horns, funky rhythm, jazzy as hell with crazy sample scratches. Some beats are quick snares with only cuts to accompany them. You got shiny, almost score-like orchestration with low piano notes. He vocalizes one of the few sung features with nasty voice editing. Funky drummer was definitely used, cut it up, and sounds dope. The track Alarm Clock had a crazy-ass Native Tongues reminiscent sound. A couple tracks got keyboard lines and glimmering synths that would seem wrong on paper but play out well sonically. Although it's a signature sound for him, I think Statik goes overboard on his use of brass instruments throughout the tape. But on the upside, his scratching and mixing is on point as always. Overall, the production is not the best he's ever done, but is certainly not horrible. On this tape, Selektah brings dozens and dozens of the hottest underground, OGs, and upcoming artists as features. Starting off with Lil Fame, he had a classic M.O.P. presence, but he lyrically lacked originality. Easy Money had an ill rhyme scheme and some dope punchlines. Joey Badass had a crazy flow and carry on with classic New York Joey talking deals. Freddie Gibbs had a nice quick G flow with a bunch of hidden ill rhymes. Styles P, that's the SP and New York reminiscent street bars we love, staying subjective to the specific track. Kweli shines like the monster we grew to love from 95 to 05. Action Bronson, he could have gotten a lot harder on track Imperial. His presence is felt, but his bars aren't ridiculous. Royce the 5'9" got some crazy punchlines and flowed nicely to the track. Black Thought shows us that veteran shit with imagery, bravado, nice rhyme scheme that matches the drum drops. It was a crazy verse. Snoop Dogg, he's pretty boring lyrically and flow-wise, but yeah, it's kind of a whack verse. Wasp P had a nice OG sound, describing himself outwards. Ransom was quite impressive on All the Way for his average verse, with quick rhymes and good fluctuation of bars, but he wasn't nothing nuts. Charlie Red had a jazzy, almost Pharrell sounding chorus on that track. For the Dilated People song, I think Evidence's verse was cool, description, imagery wise, but didn't have enough bars to make such of an impression. Rocka, after their recent release, I think he was short of his lyrical stance as director's of photography album he showed, but it wasn't horrible. Ab-Soul goes nuts with his soulful and metaphoric percenter type verse. John Connor on Alarm Clock goes so ham, eating up the competition and rhyming like a maniac. One of his stronger recent verses, which really says a lot. Logic gave his background story, which is not the first time we've heard it, but he does it in an ill poetic way. Black Dave, he's got a nice flow, but really his bars are meaningless. CJ Fly, his rhymes are simple and flows simple, but the bars are nice. Nick Caution spits those survival hard knock lines. I was happy to hear that. Sincere, he had a sweet rhythm to his voice behind the keyboards, and it just sounded dope with the backpack sound. Action Bronson, he on Long Time, he comes off cocky and fresh with a slow hood flow that stays parallel to the beat. Ill verse. Nori just swanks out on his verse with colorful bitches and weed text. Terminology had a cool raspy thing going and G'd up his verse. Rex brought his angry drunk man bars to his 16. John Connor on the chopper. The verse on the chopper was jazzy but emotional and somehow G'd up at the same time. Crazy fire. Ransom surprised me again with some hot kicks on chopper and some vicious don't give a fuck bars. Sheik Luch bringing more of that reminiscent, recent lock shit he's been spitting, but you know, it wasn't crazy, it was I. Pharaoh Monch, just that mathematical genius motherfucker with that angry swagger on his verse. Crooked Eye was nothing less or more than we expected, spitting that violent but creative type shit that blends oh so well to the beat and fades. Man, Joey Badass on Slum Villain just continues to prove how well him and Selektah vibe together. He's got that do or die mentality with the verse. Heltah Selektah, amazing title for the track for the two of members of Heltah Skeltah. Sean Price, he is the monster monkey bar G we expected with his verse, gun references, and still talk about the Zulu Nation. I love that cat and his bars for it. Rock gave us the hot featured verse for the first time in a minute, and he goes off with bars I could tell he has had in the vault and just crushes competitive MCs. Be Real had me surprisingly pleased. Wasn't insane with the rhymes, but had a nice call to the old Cali life and very different flow that paired up well with the particular beat. JFK on the same track tried to be conscious and separate himself from the rap game, but didn't do it very originally. Boldy James had a nice solo track. He had nice straightforward observations mixed with metaphors. Astro was intelligent with some cool duck down references and marksman New York type shit with his part on the joint. He had an all out narcissistic verse but wasn't stuck with it. Desi Hines came with an angry hard monster flow but had a quick verse that lacked a decent amount of content. Joe Scudder tried getting political but was simple with the verses he came up with. I enjoyed his family references though, classic for this type of track. Colin Monroe had a cool chorus reminding us that he's an underrated singer, but he kept to the same pitch within his few lines. And on the last track, God Knows, Bun B, he was nicely toned and brought us all back to that Houston young cat and the story of his historical rise in the game. Rest in peace, Pimp C. Jared Evans was very distorted and brought nothing to the table with his chorus and outro on the track. M.O.P kept it absolutely 100 with the greatly heart impactful verse. What a legend he is.